This is Haslab Omega Prime, and it might break as soon as I take it out of the box. With a $250 price tag and 1 year of production, the Optimus has come broken for many people. So was it worth the price tag, and did mine come broken? And is the Haslab even better than the older figures, or should you just get the original ones? I've been really excited for this Haslab, so I'll be pretty upset if it is broken. Now let's open it up. Okay, so this one contains Ultra Magnus. This one contains Optimus. I'll have to transform it to see if it's broken. Okay, so good news, my figure has not come broken. It's usually in this area, mainly the abdomen. I still need to collapse it, so we'll see if it breaks there. So it is kind of stiff, and applying too much force can cause it to break. Okay, so far we are good, but I am still worried because it might break later. Now this Haslab comes with a lot, so apologies in advance if I make a mistake anywhere. Also, to make sure this video isn't too bloated, I'll be mainly focusing on these two big boys and their different modes. This Optimus Prime figure is absolutely gorgeous. Hopefully it doesn't break. In fact, something actually did happen, which I'll talk about later on in the video. Overall though, the sculpt work and detailing on this figure is absolutely phenomenal. They really kept the original design and just kind of enhanced it. Size-wise, in its base mode, it's even larger than the Studio Series 86 Optimus Prime. Here he is next to the Takara 1 Optimus Prime. Yeah, he's a big boy. And he gets even bigger in that Super mode and when we combine him with Ultra Magnus for the Omega mode. Now this look does depart from the original G1 Optimus design. He turns into a fire truck, and at first glance he doesn't look like a traditional Optimus Prime at all. Give him a different head and he could be anybody. This figure has a chunkier design. This Prime is more red and the blue is minimized to certain accents on the figure. The head sculpt on this figure looks absolutely amazing. The blue paint is done incredibly well, as well as the silver for the mouthpiece and face area, and the reflective gold eyes. You can see yourself and the regret you had for spending $250 on this. The ears, however, are a gray plastic, which does kind of cheapen the look. Also, let's make sure to push this forward. Whoops. Coming down to the chest, he is definitely a wide boy. I do feel like these chest windows are a bit too far apart. My major nitpick is that his boobies are too far apart. I mean, look at the gap in there. What is that? There's also the issue of the structural issue, which I'll talk about later. I do like how the chest is a transparent blue plastic, and it has some really nice detail inside. The silver paint over here is very nice, but this figure does have a major flaw in this area. It is unfortunate that a lot of people have had the breaking issue, and it really should not have been the case, which is unfortunate because this is a gorgeous figure. There's a fix you can do to prevent the breaking, and I think I got the second batch of figures, which maybe doesn't have this issue. I don't really know. I guess we'll see if it cracks in this video because I still have to transform it and do the Super and Omega modes. If I do come in closer right here, you can see this over here. I don't think this is a crack on my figure. This seems to be more of a just paint issue, but I feel like after paying $250 and waiting over a year, I shouldn't have to take apart the figure and fix it myself. It basically involves taking the figure apart, make a questionable summoning circle, and doing a bloody ritual to summon the ancient ones. Anyways, coming over to the arms, I like the simpleness in their design. A simple red coming down to the white and to blue paint over here. Now what this figure does fix upon over the original is that the hands are not covered this time around. On the original, they're kind of like this, but on this figure, they made it so this can slide back, so we can reveal on the hand there's a hollow bit, and I've paid $250 for this. Anyways, now I do find the hand sculpt on this to be a lot better than the original, and we'll take a look at that later. This area is a lot bigger than the original, and it does have some silver paint, which the original did not. Coming down to the legs, they're very white. I am afraid over time this might have a yellowing issue. That's already happened to other people's Ultra Magnus. That hasn't happened to me. I guess you could say I'm luckier than I don't know. Moving on. The legs look absolutely fantastic. I love all the details we have going on throughout it. They're the front of the truck mode, and I can't wait to show you the truck mode because it's so cool. The figure looks very clean from the back. Now just be worried, these lights pop off very easily. Mine just fell as I was going to put this aside. Now how is the articulation? The head can look up and down a bit. It does spin around all the way, side to side, full 360 rotation. Rotation there, elbow bend, hand rotation. Move this out of the way for a full 360 waist rotation. An ab crunch, please don't break, please don't break. Okay, we're good. Legs are on a very nice ratchet joint. They're really tight, so it's kind of hard to move it all the way forward. Move them out to the side over there. Rotation here and here. You get a very good knee bend. The feet can pivot, so the articulation is great, and luckily we have no breakage so far. We'll see when I transform it again though. Now before we get to Ultra Magnus and the Omega mode, let's see if this old one is any good. The head sculpt seems a bit more round. The paint job does appear to be very similar though. Coming down to the chest, this is a major area of change. Very interesting choice to make this chrome. It looks cool, but it has caused issues of chipping over time. Luckily, mine is in good condition. The guy who owned it before me was a collector himself. I guess once again you could say I'm luckier than I gotta come up with something. And on this figure, those arm pieces do cover up the hand. A major improvement in the new figure. The waist over here is definitely a lot thinner, and it's just a gray plastic instead of silver paint. The legs look good here too, just less detailed. This figure has yellowed over time, so it does affect the shelf presence. And here's how the figure looks on the back. There is a speaker over here because if you press this button, I think he's a little confused. Do I miss this gimmick on the new figure? No, not really. Now you might be surprised by the articulation on this. The head can move up and down, we get a full 360. This can go a full 360, elbow bend and movement here. The hands can move, but they're kind of hard to move because of this piece. Full 360, waist rotation, legs move forward, a knee bent. Ow. Ow, that hurt. Knee bend, rotation, back and forth, and pivot. For a figure that's over 20 years old, it has some great articulation, unlike the original Ultra Magnus figure, which we'll take a look at later on. So the new one is a major improvement over the old, obviously. It's been over 20 years. The old one still surprisingly holds kind of well together. Oh no. This so far is very sturdy. Now before we get into the Super Mode and Ultra Magnus, we need to see the vehicle modes to better understand these robot modes. Because there's something interesting about it. Hopefully it doesn't crack. Here's a vehicle mode for the Haslab Optimus Prime. Luckily it did not crack during the transformation, but there is something that did happen which I want to talk about later on. I love this Japanese fire truck mode so much. We'll compare it to the original in a second. The vehicle mode actually splits into two parts, and this front part is what forms the robot mode we just looked at. I'll explain what happens to the back half later, but first let's continue with the vehicle mode. I love all the little bits of detail it has. The blue tinted windows with the seats inside are a nice touch. We have some paint applications up front and a license plate which is not on the original. Design wise, the head is supposed to be sticking out. It can roll pretty well, and now he has plastic tires instead of the rubber ones like the original. So fun fact, so it says Cybertron over here, and in kanji it says fire department. It's like that on the original as well, and that is because the original series was an anime. The ladder can move. The front part of the ladder has some really nice detail, and there's also these pieces which were spring loaded on the original, and it's the same for the missiles at the top. Now is it better than the original? It is very similar, definitely a lot less detailed, and the window color is different. It has spring-loaded gimmicks. I don't have the missiles, sadly. I do like how the wheels say Fire Convoy because that's its name in the Japanese show. Now while the two do look very similar, I definitely think the new one is a lot better, obviously because it's got over 20 years of engineering in it. The original does hold together fairly well, but on the new one they added a lot more tabs and connections to hold everything in place much better. Unfortunately there's no electronics on this, but overall I think this one is definitely a lot better. But this one is still pretty good, especially for the time. So this back half, it can form a base mode for Optimus Prime. Now if we take all these base pieces and put it on the figure, we get the Super Mode, and he's a big boy, a little taller than Armada Optimus. So when I transformed him into the Super Mode, I noticed something in the abdomen area. While the abdomen didn't crack, this little piece underneath it did form some stress marks. And on some copies of the figure, this piece is a little too big, which is causing the cracking issues. The Silver Mode head sculpt is a lot more red and has some silver paint, as well as some chrome pipes on the side. I'll talk about the ladder and why it's like that in a second. The asymmetrical design on the chest really stands out. The Autobot insignia is now in chrome on the right shoulder, and if we open it up, we can see the matrix over there, which we can take out. Now, on the shoulders, we have the Autobot insignia up at the top. I like the design in blue on the arms and the little gun at the side. On the original, the arms were exposed, but over here they added a panel, and it covers it up very nicely. The legs end up getting beefier, and I do really like the way they look. A lot of the sculpt work is done really well, and the simple paint helps bring it out. And on the backside, we have the ladder. Now, you can kind of position the ladder in any way you want. I prefer it to be more centered because on the original I did that to just keep the figure more balanced. The shoulder piece does disconnect really easily sometimes, and it can be a little bit stubborn to snap back into place. Now the articulation is going to be pretty much the same, and I do like how they did the butterfly joints. The waist rotation will be limited. It is a great Super Mode. Now how does it compare to the original figure? The head sculpt has the same type of paint on it, the same asymmetry in the chest with the matrix. The Autobot insignia is bigger on the shoulder pads. They do face the other way, you cannot swap them out. Now this old one doesn't really like to hold together sometimes. So we can see the arms look pretty much the same. And here's that exposed arm I was talking about. Also, this needs to collapse in a little bit more. It's pretty loose, so it'll collapse or extend real easily. Here's a look at the legs, really great detail and paintwork. So on the original, he is heavy, so he leans back. So that's why I have the ladder more centered, so it can better support the figure. I guess I don't really need to do that on the new one, but so here are the two Super Modes side by side. I definitely prefer the new one, and there's some subtle differences in it that make it better. Like, you think the original is fine, which it is, but once you get the new one, it's really just a lot more impressive. Now let's move on to Ultra Magnus. He looks really fantastic as well. He does have a few flaws on him, which is mainly because of the original design, and I personally think that old figure is absolute garbage. We'll compare it to the original figure later. The head sculpt here is really nice. I like the Autobot insignia at the top. The face sculpt is very defined. design. Coming down to the chest piece, I do like the paintwork we have and some of the detail. You can open this and he also has a matrix. The way the body connects to the legs I don't like. I'll talk more about that later. There's a gap between the arms, but that is how it is on the original design. Same goes for this area at the top. This does stay true to that original design. The rest of the arms on the figure do look really nice. And some tiny hands. He has some very, very big legs. I like the detail here that we see in the truck mode later. And the truck mode on this figure is so fun. And the rest of it is fairly plain. We have some of this like grill detail, which is really cool. And then this piece over here at the side from the truck mode. When we get to the original, you'll see how that one was very back heavy. So one thing, oh god, don't embarrass me on camera. Like the other one just had a hard time standing because he has a huge backpack over here. Luckily he does not, because over here at the bottom he has some giant heels which help support him in standing. Now yes, the legs are hollow. It was like that on the original, and you can put blue bolts in here to fill it up. I'm not going to do that because I'm lazy. And you can put blue bolts to fill this area up as well. Once again, I'm too lazy for that. It's a great one-to-one of the original figure with a lot of improvements. It's just that the original figure did have its fair share of flaws. So in terms of articulation, head up and down, full 360 rotation, arms out to the side, they can rotate as well, bicep rotation and an elbow bend, hands are on a ball joint, hinges for the fingers. No waist rotation because of how the waist is designed. I'll show that off in a sec. So these can go out all the way over there. You can go forward and bend them pretty well. Leg rotation and a foot pivot. Doesn't seem like it can move back and forth. So you can get some pretty dynamic poses out of this guy. So he is kind of a parts former, and this detaches and connects over here. So that's why he has no waist rotation. The connection on these two leg pieces isn't the best, but once you connect them, it is more solid. And here is the original 2001 Ultra Magnus. As you can see, he's already trying to fall over. Okay. And since this is about a 24-year-old figure, my copy is going to be yellowing. He has gotten loose over time, unfortunately. So as you can see, they definitely replicated the original design very well with this Haslab. And all the major flaws on this are pretty much because of the original design, but this definitely upgrades where it can. Like this one really cannot stand. It's really impossible to get any dynamic poses. I can really just get him to only stand there. I can do much more with the new Magnus. I do think the head sculpt on this is a lot worse, and I just noticed something. The Autobot insignia on here is elongated. It looks really weird like that. Coming further down to the chest, it's pretty much the same. Over the arms, once again, there's a gap over here as well. There seems to be a bit more detail on this arm compared to the original. I do like some of the detail inside here. The legs look the same, and due to age, they don't really hold well together. He does have Autobot insignias on the sides. Since he has no supports, he's kind of back heavy. I don't know if this one actually has lights and sounds. He does. Alright, now let's move on to Ultra Magnus's vehicle mode. He is such a fun vehicle mode because he can carry other vehicles on him. Bring this down as well and put like something in there. He also rolls pretty well. His wheels are also plastic. I wish they kept the Autobot insignia on him. He has translucent blue windows, and they decided to keep the chrome on him. Kind of weird how the front windows are translucent but not the back ones. That's probably because the door can actually come out for the Omega Prime transformation. Now blue bolts can be placed on top of Ultra Magnus. Here's the original one, and it's already a little bit loose. Does it still hold up? I know he's not fully flat right now, just ignore that. As you can see, mostly the same. They should have kept the Autobot insignia. These windows seem to be more translucent. The doors on here stay shut. I do like some of the detail over here and over here in this area. So yeah, this one is definitely a lot less solid. But once again, the new one has a bunch of extra connections in place, and it holds together so well. Now on the original, you can see that the rubber tires on my copy are cracking. Now let's compare the two. The major change I'm seeing is the trailer bit. So you might think, oh, it's just the same figure, but honestly, the new one holds together so much better. I do also like the little bit of orange paint we have up here. That is a detail that would go missed out on most modern day figures. The new Ultra Magnus is so much better over the original. Now we still need to combine these new ones for Omega Prime, but let's take a look at Blue Bolts first. Blue Bolt is a cool addition to have. She is a parts former and transforms into Ultra Magnus's weapon. She comes in this box with the base stand and the figure. I do like the design and sculpt work on it. The head sculpt is also really nice, and here's how it looks from the back. The articulation on the figure is pretty decent, although I wish she had a better ankle pivot. Now the set also comes with the Cerebros headmaster, and this is basically packaged in here along with another base and these actual stand pieces. You just fold it over to transform it. Now I do wonder if this will fit in some previous headmaster figures. Target Master Hot Rod, let's go ahead and take this out. You can see that's a headmaster, and let's insert Cerebros to see if this works. I'm pretty sure it will, and it does work. That is pretty cool. Now I need to combine these figures for Omega Prime. Hopefully my Optimus Prime doesn't get any worse. Now here's the Omega Prime mode. It is absolutely gorgeous. The colors on him really stick stick out, especially with all the shiny blue chrome and gold over here. He's a mix of several different colors, and I personally think he looks amazing. The transformation to get him into this combined mode was actually fairly easy, and he holds together so securely because of all the extra connections they added. The old one is currently a pain in the ass to connect together, and luckily while connecting the Haslab together, I didn't experience any further breakage. But this thing is absolutely gorgeous, and I might end up just displaying it in this mode. Also, we can add blue bolts up to the top. This box contains his matrix sword, which you kind of need to put together. The tab connection doesn't really hold together very well, or at least I can't get him to. Maybe I'm just an idiot. Who knows? The head sculpt is honestly very similar to the super mode, all red with some silver paint, but the earpieces are different. These are now a gold chrome, and these do come separately. You have to attach them on. I love all the chrome on here. Hopefully it doesn't chip or scratch over time. That is one of my big fears. We have a little bit of detail over here, and here's a quick look at the top of that. Oh, one thing I do want to mention is that there is a big gap over here, which isn't too great. Coming further down the arms, there's a lot of great detail going on over here. I do really like the Autobot insignia. This panel is kind of awkward where it covers the front up like that. Not much you can do really. Coming down to the legs, it does look a bit disjointed because of the colors, but that's just kind of how it's gonna be. The legs are pretty bulky, especially from over here. It doesn't look too great. I'm a little bit worried with how the feet are designed. I'm not sure how much support that's gonna give the figure. Coming over to the back, we have the wings and everything over there. You might think, oh, he's so big and complex. Does he even have good articulation? The head can move all the way around. We do get a rotation. You can move these, but I don't like to touch them because they're very loose and fall off. Arms can move out to the side. There's rotation, but it's not gonna go a full 360. Bicep rotation, butterfly joint, hinges on the hands, hand rotation, a little bit of a waist rotation, legs out to the side, a knee bend, rotation at the thigh, rotation all the way around, feet can move, and a foot pivot. So you can get some fairly good poses out of him. Okay, here is the original one. Oh god. Woo! And shit. Oh my god. Okay, and here is the 2001 version. Doesn't hold together very well. I'm surprised the chrome here hasn't chipped. I mean, this was still great for its time. I think the head sculpt is a little bit smaller. On the top, this part is filled in, but now the chest sticks out a lot more. This part is done differently. This is just flat on the new one. Arms are gonna be the same. The same can be said for the rest of the legs. However, over here, we do have the Autobot insignia on the side. Here are the two Omega Primes side by side. Yeah, one is significantly more yellow than the other. That's really funny. The new one is definitely a lot taller. Color-wise, they're both the same, and this is what I was talking about earlier. This is a panel. This is part of the legs of Ultra Magnus. So even though both the figures look very much the same, the new Haslab is significantly better over the original. The Haslab is just significantly more secure, but if I do that on this figure, the top's gonna fall over. The Haslab purchase was worth it if you didn't get a cracked figure. Now, if you want a video with a bunch of Geo and Optimus Prime figures, check that video out over here.